to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call from my left, please. Yaw's here.
Evans here.
LaRue here.
Mullins here.
Foster here.
We have a quorum. Citizens' comments. The purpose of this item is to allow citizens an opportunity to address the City Council on items that are listed on the agenda or issues that are not listed on the agenda. Any person desiring to make a public comment must first sign in at the podium at least 10 minutes prior to the start of the meeting in order to be recognized by the presiding officer. Individual citizen comments are limited to 3 minutes. The presiding officer may ask the citizen to hold their comment on an agenda item until that agenda item is reached. The City Council has no obligation to respond in any manner to comments or questions from the public. Any response from a member of the City Council to non-agenda comments is limited to a statement of specific factual information, a recital of existing policy, or direction to staff for follow-up. We have two folks that wish to talk tonight. We'll start with Mr. Jack Shell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I spoke about this a couple of meetings before, about the widening of Welch Lane, and I've just learned something just moments ago about how to get it really done, as opposed to like everybody, going in favor of it, and yes, we do it. So I'm going to proceed a little bit different procedure, but I'll let you know I am working on it to widen it, and you'll see that little picture that I sent you all is kind of one of the things that's the nightmare I have, is that because there's this little ditch on each side of Welch Lane between the lake and Main Street, that if someone gets into that, they could go over and it'd just be like in the picture, it could happen. And of course, school buses use it a good bit. They're often on Welch Lane. So a little procedure that I'm hoping to see if I can make it happen, because I'm concerned about your well-being. Anybody here use Welch Lane, by the way? I'm just curious. Welch Lane. Oh, okay, never mind then. Just kidding. That's only 3. But don't worry, I know that there are others. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, for letting me do this, and I will proceed in whatever manner it takes to see if I can help get this done.
Thank you, Jack.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Ms. Day, I want to let you come up when we get to your agenda item, if that's okay. Where's Cassie at? Don't see her. Oh, maybe she'll be here by then. Okay. Item number 1. Consent agenda. All matters listed under consent agenda are considered to be routine by the City Council and will be enacted by one motion. There will not be separate discussion of these items. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately. Consider approving the following reports: City Manager Report, September 2021 meeting minutes, August 2021 financials, Animal Control, Dispatch, and Police, Court Report for August and September, Permits, Inspection, and Code Enforcement, Street and Park Maintenance and Repairs, Fire Report, EDC August 2021 financials, EDC August and September 2021 minutes. May I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion is second. Discussion? Vote from my left, please.
Yaw's yes.
Evans, yes.
LaRue, yes.
Mullins, yes.
Foster, yes.
Item 2, presentation by Calvin Posnick, GrantWorks Project Manager, regarding Texas Department of Agriculture, TDA, Section 3 grant requirements. We're going to get Mr. Posnick on the telephone, and while we're doing that, can I get a motion from council? Actually, we don't need a motion to watch the presentation. Hello, Calvin. This is David Skanes, Mayor of Gunbarrel City. How are you doing today? Doing very well, thank you. We are here in council in open session and are awaiting your presentation, so take it away, sir. Council, any questions that you'd like to ask Calvin at this time? All right, thank you very much, sir. We do appreciate it. You too. Item 2B, discuss and/or take action to approve the Grant Works amendment for project Texas Cdbg contract number 7220171.
I'll make a motion to approve the Grant Works amendment for project TX Cdbg, contract 7220171.
LaRue, second.
Motion and second. Mr. City Manager, you want to touch anything you want to add on this?
No, this is really just a procedural process because the rules of managing the program changed, and they were required to make notice of that.
Got you. Thank you. Any discussion? Vote for my left, please.
Yosh, yes.
Evans, yes.
LaRue, yes.
Mullins, yes.
Foster, yes.
Thank you. Item 2C, discuss and consider approving the recommendation of the Selection Review Committee to award by resolution number R 2021-031 Grant Works Incorporated for grant administration services for funding from the U.S. Department of Treasury for the American Rescue Plan Act to provide project administration and project-related management services. Resolution number R 2021-031, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Gunbarrel City, Texas, selecting a grant writer administrator to assist the city in its application and administration of funding from the U.S. Department of Treasury for the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021. May I have a motion, please?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve the or to discuss and consider approving the recommendation of the Selection Review Committee to award by resolution number R-2021-031 Grant Works, Inc.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion, a second. Discussion?
Question. Do we know the annual cost of this proposal?
Yes, it is 5% of the total award. Gunbarrel City was awarded $1.56 million in American Rescue Plan Act money. And the cost of the administration over the life of the term is $76,700.
That's not a yearly cost, but the total cost?
That's the total cost, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. City Manager, that 5% pays for their services to ensure that the funds are spent in accordance with the law so that we don't get into a jam of doing something with them we're not supposed to or that isn't consistent with what the requirements are. Is that a pretty good way of wrapping it up?
That's correct. The preliminary rules are 39 pages of size 8 font, and they're very difficult. It's a document that has been prepared by the U.S. Department of Treasury. I think it's really important for us to get some advice with some of the decision-making that the city may be involved in. And GrantWorks has a unit dedicated solely to the management of the American Rescue Plan Act. So they have a dedicated team of professionals that are going to work solely on the ARPA process and the allocation or spending of the allocated funds.
Thank you.
Other questions or comments? Vote for my left, please.
Yosh, yes.
Evans, yes.
LaRue, yes.
Mullins, yes.
Foster, yes.
Item 2D, discuss and/or take action, consider an increase in animal control costs from $1,250 to $1,600 a month as requested by the Humane Society of Cedar Creek Lake. You have a motion?
I'll make a motion to discuss or take action to consider an increase in the animal control costs from $1,250 to $1,600 a month as requested by the Humane Society of Cedar Creek Lake.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion?
Mr. Mayor, we have a contract with Humane Society of Cedar Creek Lake, which spells out specific requirements and thresholds before an increase would be requested or required. And based on the calculations that have been put together by staff, we've not come close to that number. We have seen an increase, but nothing close to what's in our contract. I'm a little perplexed as to why we'd be asked to pay more for something when the contract stipulates a threshold for that, and we haven't even met that threshold we're not even close to it. Do we have anyone from?
On that, would you, or? Okay.
Oh, perfect.
Good evening. My name's Lynette Ainsworth, and I'm the board president of the Humane Society of Cedar Creek Lake. I want to thank everybody for giving us an opportunity to talk a little bit about our situation with our shelter in regards to increased cost. And we're here tonight to talk about our budget, and certainly we understand everybody has a budget. And what we've seen over the last, I guess, few months, and most businesses have also been in the same boat, regarding the COVID situation with not being able to hire appropriate people, also with the increasing operating cost. We also have looked at our fundraising money, and we're at a point where we really cannot sustain the deficit in our revenue loss versus our increased operating cost. Just to give you a little background on some of the fundraising money, we do a very good job and very proud of the things that we do in our community, raising money to help our animals be transported out so we can reduce the number of animals that are not able to find a home. And so we also look at using those funds for specific needs. As we talked and you guys talked about grants, we also apply for grants, and we look at those specific grants for certain projects not used for operating expenses. I'll just share an example of we had Shirley, who owns the Dairy Queen, who gave us a check tonight, a donation, and that is specifically for a van because our previous van is kind of on its last leg, and it's hard to actually do some transports with that. So we're in the same situation that we don't have those funds, and we can't continue to rely on fundraising money. We actually just took $20,000 from a fundraiser in order to make payroll these last couple weeks. So with that, we certainly want to look at, is there an opportunity for the American Rescue Plan Act? We've actually gone to other cities and counties this week to ask for an emergency type situation to help us get through this. If you look at our increased labor cost, we're actually paying $8.50 an hour for a tech kennel. And as we all know, in the workplace, you're not able to hire someone or retain someone at $8.50. So retention's a big issue, and again, trying to attract new workers. Our medical cost has been increasing over the last 3 months. We're looking at spay-neuter surgery, and just to give you an example, one vet was charging us $65, and we just got a notification it's $142 for a spay-neuter service. And obviously our adoption rate of fees are $125, so we certainly lose money by the time we care for that animal and take care of the proper needs. So we're looking at a percent, and we think this is a very small percent for Gunbarrel. When you look at the number of animals, we've actually increased the number of animal intake this year from last year. This year we're looking at about a total of 259 compared to the 240 last year, and we know Gunbarrel is growing. So when we were before the committee a couple years ago, we still didn't have the proper funding, and we were able to get the funding from 2 private donors. We didn't come back last year or this past year because, again, we felt like we could get through this when things weren't changing because of the pandemic. Then we realized that we had to go back again to the cities and the counties that are using the shelter. And so with that, that's why I wanted to make sure that the point was made that it's a very small amount. It's $350 more a month. And that is probably one of the lowest ones when you compare the percent of animals that are brought in. We still took into consideration to keep that fee at a low amount. So we have also reduced adoptions over the past few months. People are going back to work, and therefore our adoption fees have decreased. We want to show you exactly our budget deficit in the 3 buckets, and I'm going to have Sharon explain that. I'm going to pass that out to you guys so you'll see exactly the deficit that we have. And that's why, again, we look at it as an emergency type situation. While we have a contract, I don't think any of us realized over the last few months that we were going to be faced with what we're faced with.
Thank you.
I want to thank the city of Gunbarrel for having us out. I know this was kind of a last-minute part to the agenda, but I wanted to share with you, first of all, our budget through 2021. And as you look at it, this is actually through September. And as Lynette did allude to the fact that in terms of our labor costs, we're seeing the labor costs skyrocket. We're having extra overtime. We're having people stay over if they're part-time to full-time. So what we've seen so far through September is a difference from the actual to the budget of about $37,000. Medical expenses, again, those skyrocket for us, and the needs, that's about $13,900. Animal care, that's our food, kennel supplies, the necessary materials to take care of all of our animals every single day in their kennels. So the deficit in our budget is about $60,656. If we move forward, too, with a plan to keep and retain the employees, if we say we're going to give every single employee a $1 raise, that's about another $20,000 annually. I mean, I see it's difficult when we're at $850 and across the street's $12, and if you've ever worked in shelter and you've been there, it's terribly hard work, difficult work, very, very rewarding work. At the end of the day, we're so thrilled about what we've done and how hard we've worked for all these babies that are coming in off the streets, that we want to be able to retain these great employees and managers and all of that we have. And so with that, we look at a deficit of about $80,000. And what we've done is come to all of our partners and said, listen, we really need some help. This is time where, coronavirus 2 years ago really caught us off guard. We had to adjust. This year, it's another adjustment. And so, again, as partners, we're coming together to the city and to everybody to say, can you help us? And here's the reasons why.
Council?
Ma'am, how many, what dollars have y'all received through the payroll protection plan, the federal program that was designed specifically to provide payroll assistance throughout the pandemic to small businesses?
We received that last year. I couldn't
Okay.
give the exact amount, but we did receive that last year, but we haven't received anything this year.
Have y'all applied for it?
I didn't know it was available for, again, this year, so if it is, then yes, we'll apply for it.
Okay. Do y'all have anyone that's checking into that?
We have someone, we have a CPA that we can get back with.
Okay. As far as the American Rescue Plan, again, dollars that were provided by the federal government, and again, specifically for the purpose of trying to tide businesses over, including a business like y'all's, for the issues just like what you're describing that are so many businesses are suffering through with the pandemic. What have y'all received as far as ARP funds from the program?
We actually just heard about that just recently, so we've been asking for the cities and the counties for that also. So they're looking to see if that's a possibility. But I'll just say this, every city and the 2 counties that we went to have provided us with funds to help us through this.
Now, as far as applying for any of those through the federal government, have y'all applied for any?
Besides,
The American Rescue Plan
okay,
dollars?
as far as the American Rescue Act, as I mentioned, that we just found out about that, so we have not applied for that. And we don't know if we're eligible for that or not, so.
Okay.
But we will, trust me, we'll go back and apply for anything we can.
Okay.
Just like you guys talked about, you got a couple $1 million. We would love to have some of that.
Mr. City Manager,
We're
I
only
know-
asking for $350 a month.
Mr. City Manager, I know I'm probably catching you off guard, but just in a simple answer, to the best of your memory, how many dollars of American Rescue Plan and Payroll Protection Plan dollars did we obtain for the city last year? Do you have a round number?
We received CARES Act money last year that was in excess of $380,000 that we utilized for multiple different projects in the city.
Including payroll for the city?
Including payroll for our essential workers, public safety employees. The American Rescue Plan Act, each city was awarded, as long as they opted into the program, was awarded a dollar amount based on their population. The county of Henderson was also awarded money to be dispersed throughout the county. I know that you service many different communities, but you're a business that are headquartered in specific cities. And those specific cities were also given a certain fund source based on their population and their size of businesses in their community. So everybody in the region here, I'm aware, received their share. They all opted in. Tool, 7 Points, Kemp, Maybank, Gunbarrel City, Payne Springs, they all received their allocation from the federal government, as well as Henderson County.
Do you have any idea how much y'all received from having contacted any of the cities for the communities y'all service from any of those programs?
You're asking if we received any of those?
Did y'all request any of it from any of the
We were,
communities?
actually, when I found out about it, last week or week before, whatever, we did request from Tool. And we have been asking for that too, so, but instead, they've been giving us an amount based on our needs now. So as I mentioned, Henderson County, Kaufman County, City of Kaufman, Maybank have all given us the money that we've been asking for at these meetings to help us get through that. And so to that point, I will definitely go back and apply for anything we can, because this is just barely getting us by for the time being.
Right, and I certainly appreciate what you're suggesting is, getting by. I get what is happening. The question that I hope I'm not belaboring it, the question that I'm kind of stuck on is, these programs have been around for a while. I'm just wondering, have you all applied for any of them when they were first announced and they were starting to come into play? Because, again, I don't know what the particulars were, how they would apply to your business, but I'm wondering, they've been around for a while, and this is exactly what they were intended to cover, was these type of expenses. I mean, I'm looking at y'all's payroll. They have a plan that was specifically designed just to help cover payroll, but y'all didn't get any of that. I'm just wondering why not.
And as I mentioned, we got it last year. We have a CPA that is on our board, and I will get with her, trust me, after this meeting, because if it's available, we will go after it. But we were not under the impression that we could get it again this year, because we had it last year. That was what our impression was. But if that's different, then we will apply for that and anything else that's available out there.
Can you tell us what the total amount is you're requesting from Gunbarrel? $350 a month for how many months?
Until the next budget session.
And that is, what, how many months? 12 or?
It would be for the full term of this contract? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah,
asking.
until next October.
So, and currently, we're under a 2-year we're 1 year into a 2-year contract
A
currently.
year, about a year then roughly.
So we're looking at another year at a increased cost of $350 a month. And I guess, that's, my question is, if we move this, if council were to approve this, I would like to ask for an extended contract for it, but I don't know that that does any good. We've got a contract that we haven't broken today. Everyone had problems with the COVID cost. So I don't know that does any good, but it just seems, my life is when you have a contract, each party gets it's supposed to be a win-win. So any other questions, council?
Is there any expectation that if this were to be approved by this city or any city, that it would revert back to the the contracted amount after this period of 1 year for the purpose of getting through this crisis or this anomaly? Or is this going to be the new normal?
I think if we look around at the the workforce and the businesses and what we're all up against, I don't see it going backwards. I don't see us going back and being able to pay someone lower. The medical expenses, I don't see those going down. So if those were to go down, then most definitely we could go back to the budget we had before. But because of the things that were out of our control, there's no way we can go backwards. And I can't guarantee that down the road that things will get worse for us, but if we can get the help and the supplements and the PIP and the different things that are available in the Emergency Act, then we wouldn't be coming to you guys. So certainly if there's money out there, we're going to go, try to get it to help us. We don't like coming here after the contract and your budget's already done either, but we're not able to take care of the animals right now properly with the proper staffing. And I can go back, and when I said earlier, you know, Gunbarrel has not been paying their fair share for many years. And I'm just being honest here that I'm asking for $350 more a month. So that's all I got to say. Thank you.
Ms. Ainsworth, we still receive reports of your folks directing people to bring the animals back to Gunbarrel City that have brought them to the shelter to be dropped off. And your folks at the shelter are telling them to take them to Gunbarrel City. We actually had one citizen from Payne Springs came over and they were told to bring that animal to Gunbarrel City. Can you stop that?
This is the first I've heard of that. If
No,
there's
ma'am,
any-
we told you this last time you were before this
Then
council.
we addressed it and thought it was corrected. This is the first I've heard that still has an issue.
Can you stop it?
Yes, we can,
Thank you.
we can, let me put it this way. I can't control everything, but I will give you my comment, my word, that we will have a conversation to see what we can do. Everything, if there's a procedure out of place, we'll work on it. And if there's a
I
problem,
think
please come to me,
I think
you know?
I'll have the city manager, conversation, city manager, maybe we can draw up something that will help us with that. And get with you on that in a future date.
But if there's a problem, please come to us.
Well, and I don't know that we really realized that this was still going on until we received this, because our numbers have remained considerably lower than what they were when we went into this contract, when they were at 400. So now we're at 240 something. So I don't think that we realized that this was going on still until this came in and we started talking to the animal control officer. But we will know in the future, and we will address it. So, council, any further questions or concerns? Hearing none, vote for my left, please.
Before I answer that, what are we voting on at this moment, to pay the increase?
I believe the motion was to pay the increase, yes.
Guess before I vote, I guess I have more to discuss. Is that okay, Mr. Mayor?
We need to wrap it up, but go ahead.
If we vote to increase this, where's the money going to come from? Because our budget is already set. Wouldn't we need to discuss where we're going to get this money from before we commit to paying it? I'm concerned that we've responded to the needs of the community when we set our budget, which included hiring a small amount of new police officers and some new fire department personnel. And that if we're going to pay this increase, granted, it's not the same price as those two expenses, it's still an expense, and I believe in being financially accountable, and if we're going to increase this, we're going to have to pay for it from something. Our budget was already made, and it didn't leave a lot of leeway.
True.
I'd like to discuss how we would pay it before I vote to decide to pay it, if I can.
Mr. City Manager, you have any comment on where this would come from?
Well, it can come from multiple sources. It could come just from taking money out of a line item that we've already dedicated to one of our many departments. It is less than $4,000, or right around $4,000 for the year. I think we can identify and find that money. It's just where we find it from and which department, which program we cut from. There will be a loss. I mean, we have a defined budget, and we've allocated all the money that we believe we have. But I think there's enough room to find the money. If council so decides to agree to the increase, we can find the money to fund it.
Mr. Mayor, I agree with that. I think if we agree with this, we should turn this over to the city manager and task him with coming up with the funds.
Thank you. Any further comment or discussion? I'll ask for a vote again.
Y'all's yes.
Evans, yes.
LaRue, yes.
Mullins, yes.
Foster, yes?
Item 2E, discuss and/or take action to adopt resolution number R 2021-030, joining with the state of Texas and political subdivisions of the state as a party of the Texas opioid settlement. Resolution number 2021-030, a resolution of the City Council for the City of Gunbarrel City, Texas, joining with the state of Texas and political subdivisions of the state as a party in the Texas opioid settlement agreements secured by the Office of the Attorney General, authorizing the execution of settlement participation forms and establishing its effective date. May I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to adopt Resolution R 2021-030, joining with the state of Texas and political subdivisions of the state as party to the Texas opioid settlement.
LaRue, second.
Motion is second. Mr. City Manager, is there something you'd like to share with the council tonight?
The opioid settlement that was, the settlement is about $26 billion settlement between 4 companies, Johnson & Johnson and 3 distributors of opioids. Texas is going to receive 1.3 or $1.2 billion of that $26 billion. In order for Gunbarrel City to receive its allocation, must adopt a resolution opting into the settlement. Gunbarrel's tentative share of the settlement is approximately $32,000. That was before today. Texas Attorney General has also today entered into another settlement with Johnson & Johnson, which was for an additional, I believe it's $290 million, which is $0.3 billion. So it raises Texas's overall opioid settlement fund from 1.2 to 1.5 billion. So that may change Gunbarrel City's allocation. What the state of Texas is waiting for is for cities to opt in so that they can determine how many municipalities and government agencies are involved before they give a final disbursement number for those individual government entities.
Thank you. And are you comfortable telling us what this money needs to be spent towards? I know it was limited.
The opioid settlement funds must be used for education, treatment, and prevention of opioid use and abuse. I believe that the city can utilize the funds to train our public safety employees, help participate with the local emergency room as far as providing Narcan supplies that help alleviate the use or the effect of opioids. So it'd really be used for education purposes, treatment purposes, and providing the necessary medical supplies so that people can be treated in the field as well as in the clinical setting.
And our original amount that we were going to receive off the 1.2 billion was around $36,000, if memory serves correct.
Yes, $36,302 was the actual number quoted in the settlement.
Not 1.2 billion. That'd be nicer, but
No. I would expect it to go up some, but all of it's tentative anyways because the numbers were based on every city participating, and there may be municipalities that don't.
Gotcha. Any discussion from council?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Mr. City Manager, you brought up Narcan. One of the specific things that I'm glad to hear about this plan would include potentially the use of Narcan. For those that don't know, when a person is experiencing an overdose of opioids, either intentional or accidental, and there are a lot of accidental opioid overdoses, which is why this settlement was reached, the introduction of Narcan by a first responder, which could be a police officer, could be the EMTs, quickly, very often means the difference between a funeral or a person going home. So the fact that these funds could be used to help introduce training, to help our officers and first responders identify that happening right in front of their face, because a lot of times it can't be they can't tell. This now they'll know, and having the ability to have that supply with them. And it's, again, I don't want to overstate it, but it simply comes down to the difference between life or death. So I'm happy to hear that this may be one of the uses of these funds, because it'll keep some families happy.
Any other comments, questions, concerns? Vote for my left.
Y'all's yes.
Evans, yes.
LaRue, yes.
Mullins, yes.
Foster, yes.
Item 2F, discuss and/or take action to approve the Gunbarrel City Emergency Response Provider Quarantine Leave Policy. May I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve the Gunbarrel City Emergency Response Provider Quarantine Leave Policy.
Second.
A motion and a second. Mr. City Manager, this policy is in conjunction with the state requirement from the governor.
Yes, House Bill 2073, which was enacted in this latest legislative session, provides for public safety employees to not be docked time in the event that they are required to quarantine as a result of COVID exposure. We had in place a COVID policy in our city where we did not dock employees anyways, but this is unlimited. You can have an employee that has to quarantine 5 times a year, and the law prevents the city from docking that employee from their personal leave balances.
Questions or concerns? Discussion? Vote for my left.
Yaws, yes.
Evans, yes.
LaRue, yes.
Mullins, yes.
Walsh, yes.
Thank you. Item 2G, discuss and/or take action to spend up to $5,000 from the Hotel Motel Fund for the Gunbarrel Quilters Guild 2022 Annual Quilt Show. And I have a request to speak from Miss Cassidy Day. Is she here? I do not see Miss Day. Okay. I have a motion, please.
Mr. Mayor, make a motion to discuss and or take action to spend up to $5,000 from the Hotel Motel Fund for the Gunbarrel Quilters Guild 2022 Annual Quilt Show.
Have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Discussion?
I just want to throw out there for the citizens that are in attendance tonight, you may wonder if we've got $5,000 for this, why can't we put this $5,000 toward the issue that we were discussing with the Humane Society? Money is specifically coming from the Hotel Motel Fund. This is taxes paid directly by people who are staying in hotel motels, and the requirements for how those dollars are to be expended are very specific, and this is a great example of one of the uses of it. The good thing about it is it brings folks into our town, into our city, which we like to have that, and hopefully they'll enjoy it so much they'll keep coming back year over year.
This request has gone up from last year as well. We might want to point out, it was originally last year $4,500. I believe we contributed $4,000.
Yeah. And I think they had asked the EDC for additional funds, and we had a conversation on that this really needs to come out of the hotel motel and not the EDC. So that's why we've got the full 5,000 this time. So any further comment or concerns, questions? Vote for my left, please.
Yaws, yes.
Evans, yes.
LaRue, yes.
Mullins, yes.
Walsh, yes.
Thank you. And by the way, if you haven't been to the Quilter Show, it's worth the price of admission, which is free, but it's worth even more than that. It's a good show. You ought to, when they have it, you ought to go out to it. It's a really good show. Item 2H, discuss and/or take action to approve a contract extension with First State Bank for an additional 5 years. May I have a motion, please?
I'd like to make a motion to approve a contract extension with First State Bank for an additional 5 years.
Second.
All right. Mr. City Manager?
The original real estate note that was taken from First State Bank in 2011 called for a fixed rate of 3.55% for 10 years. After 10 years, the note would revert to an adjustable rate at the Wall Street Prime minus 0.25%. The First State Bank has offered to extend our fixed rate at 3.55% for an additional 60 months. The current rate today for a entity such as Gunbarrel City would be approximately 3.79% if we renegotiated our contract for a 15-year fixed rate. So we're actually getting about 0.25% less than the current rate if we were to renegotiate. And I think that the 3.55% offer, the contract that we have does not allow it to go below 3.55% anyway, with a cap of, I believe, 8% is the ceiling. So I think the bank is offering us to extend at the same contract rate for 60 months. And it does expire, or it changes on the 30th of November, 2021. So we have a little over a month in which to renegotiate or amend the current contract. They hold the note, First State Bank does, so it's a very simple process for them. It's just a matter of changing the terms with no costs at all to the city to do that.
Thank you. Questions or concerns?
Mr. Mayor, or excuse me, Mr. City Manager, do you approximately, what is the balance on this loan at this time?
The balance is approximately $810,000 to $820,000. We took out initially a $1.4 million loan. So we owe about 810, 820,000. I'm not sure the actual amount because it amortizes every day, goes down every quarter, but it's right between that number.
Thank you.
Further comments, questions? Vote for my left.
Yawns, yes.
Evans, yes.
LaRue, yes.
Mullins, yes.
Walsh, yes.
Item 2I, discuss and/or take action to adopt ordinance number O-2021-041, amending Section 33 of the fee schedule and Section 96.02 for driveways and culvert installation. Ordinance 2021-041, an ordinance of the City Council, an ordinance of the City Council for the City of Gunbarrel City, Texas, amending Chapter 33 of the fee schedule and Appendix 1 and Chapter 96 of the Gunbarrel City Code of Ordinances, providing a severability clause, providing a repealer clause, and providing an effective date. May I have a motion, please?
Make a motion to adopt ordinance number O-2021-041, amending Section 33 of the fee schedule and Section 96.02.
Thank you.
Second.
A motion and a second. Discussion?
Isn't this what we discussed in the workshop?
Yes, ma'am. I believe it is.
Mr. City Manager, can you give us just a quick, brief overview of what this change creates?
Currently, we charge $75 for installation of a culvert. Culverts have more than doubled in price. The price of an 18-foot-long culvert that we would normally use in a residential area is in excess of $450. Last year, the City of Gunbarrel City installed 71 culverts. It's a great expense to the city for us to purchase the culvert, install the culvert. Takes about $350 worth of labor and use of equipment to install a culvert at a residential area or a residential site. So all we're asking for basically is just to be cost neutral with the installation of the culverts. What we'd really like to see happen is the developers and the builders to install their own culverts and let us inspect them. Pay for the $75 permit, and we go out and inspect the work. It's a lot of work on the street department, and we've been doing it for years at a negative cost to the city. So this basically allows the city to remain cost neutral. We'll do the work if the builder or developer does not want to, but in the event that we do that, we will at least not be costing the city an extraordinary amount of money in which to install these culverts.
Thank you.
And this is only for new construction. Things that we replace at no cost to the residential property owner.
Thank you. Further questions or concerns? Vote for my left, please.
Yawns, yes.
Evans, yes.
LaRue, yes.
Mullins, yes.
Foster, yes.
Action 2J, discuss and/or take action to move the November 23rd, 2021 council meeting to November 16th, 2021 due to the holidays. May I have a motion, please?
Mr. Mayor, make a motion to discuss and or take action to move the November 23, 2021 council meeting to November 16, 2021 due to the holidays.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any need for any discussion? Vote for my left, please.
Yawns, yes.
Evans, yes.
LaRue, yes.
Mullins, yes.
Walsh, yes.
Thank you. Item 2K, discuss and/or take action to move the December 28th, 2021 council meeting to December 21st due to the holidays. May I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to move the December 28th, 2021 council meeting to December 21st, 2021 due to the holidays.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Mr. City Manager, would this have been, was there a reason we couldn't move this to the week prior to Christmas week, or was it considered at all?
No, we just picked a date on the calendar that was
It was open?
whatever.
I didn't know if we were going to have staff that was going to be off that week, or if any of the council members were going to be gone that week of Christmas. That's the only reason I asked. But I'm fine with it if everybody else is, so I was just checking in. Does anybody have a problem with the 21st on council? Okay. All righty. Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Vote for my left.
Yawns, yes.
Evans, yes.
LaRue, yes.
Mullins, yes.
Walsh, yes.
Thank you. All right. Item 3A, public hearing to discuss amendment of the approved rezone of Track 2, 10.679 acres in the AB 282 West Hockaday Survey, Henderson County, Texas, and the city of Gunbarrel City, belonging to Island Development LP, to include terms and conditions of development agreement and development plans warranting plan development zoning. May I have a motion, please?
It's a public hearing.
Oh, it's public hearing. Public hearing is now open. Please identify yourself and go ahead.
Audra Buckley, I am the zoning rep for Dan Waitman and Madali Realty. What you have in front of you is a development agreement that was drafted by the city attorney that was incorporating the ordinance that I had submitted back in September as Exhibit B. And I understand that there are some questions that I may be able to answer tonight. What we were trying to do was basically start with something to get the zoning solidified so that they could close on the property, we could actually get the wheels turning and come back in with a site plan that had all of the particulars and all the details. And this was going to be the vehicle that got us there, with the understanding that when we brought in the site plan, I understand that you guys want to have a workshop to discuss these things, that we could amend it at that time when we had the site plan. So right now, they have a closing date of tomorrow. We really thought we were done with this last month, but then we had to come back with this amending ordinance. So I think at this point, if you have questions or concerns, maybe we can go through some of those and I can explain some things.
Council?
I think that there are so many things in this draft that are inconsistent with anything we have discussed, that I think a workshop can address them one by one. But there are many things that are different than what we've seen, including the concept, which is kind of unclear as to whether it includes a hotel or doesn't include a hotel. It has a restaurant that is private or open to the public. There's just things that are, it's too much for me to sign off on it without more clarification.
The restaurant part of it is actually a pretty easy one. The Gunbarrel code right now says that if you have a mix of uses, you have to park it in accordance with the requirements for each of those uses. What I asked for was a deviation for a shared parking, because that's the reason we asked for it to be for the residents and their guests for these restaurants, because those park at 1 to 100. So the developer would love to have it open to the public. It's just a matter if we can park it. So parking is a tail that wags the dog on this. So that's why it's written the way that it's written, so that we could share the parking and still provide a restaurant as an amenity for the ones who are going to be out there. But that's why you didn't see it as open to the public as a main use.
In the hotel?
The hotel, he's looking at possibly 100 rooms in the fourth building, the one that's out here on the water. But it would be a high-end hotel. We're talking $250, $275 a night for families.
May I ask the city manager, do you have any problems with this, or would you weigh in on what's being proposed?
Well, I believe initially, City Secretary and myself, we're looking at this document to clean up the zoning. And there's a lot of things in here that I 100% agree should be discussed before they're agreed to, because they're things that could be binding. They could be held to be enforceable if City Council approved them. It's entirely up to the governing body to decide, but I think I agree with Ms. Mullins that there are things in this proposed agreement that were not discussed. And as I mentioned to the mayor, you know, we took the document that was provided by you yourself and just provided it to the city attorney. He took that document and drafted an ordinance without really understanding that things hadn't been discussed. So I think most of the things, if not all of them, can be clarified very easily.
Yes.
It's just, I think that there's been a lack of appropriate communication between the parties who are going to make the decision and those are requesting the approval.
Agree.
Further comments?
Is there any impediment to us scheduling a workshop to cover this material and to get it clarified and put together in a document that we can all agree to?
I believe that's something that we should do as quickly as possible.
Agree.
I think that would be a great idea if we could do that.
And I think that when we met on this project, we were mostly concerned with the height variance, and we went to the project, help me with this, Ms. Mullins, project development agreement idea. And I think that my impression of council is that they support this project, but we've got to make it where we know what's going on. I think that's what everybody's agenda is here, to make sure that we get everything lined out properly and in the proper documentation so that we know what we're looking at.
Right.
And I think right now we don't have a document that we can sign off on to do that.
No, we don't, and the fact that this ordinance specifically says that it repeals all other ordinances, it's just setting us up for pinning ourselves in a corner, and I just don't think we're there yet.
Okay. Any further comments or questions or concerns? If not, I'll move on to item 3B, which is discuss and/or take action to adopt ordinance number O-2021-042, amending ordinance number O-2021-040, and adopting and incorporating a development agreement. Ordinance number O-2021-042, and an ordinance of the City of Gunbarrel City, Texas, amending ordinance O-2021-040, which amended the comprehensive zoning ordinance and map, granting a change in zoning from condominium residential district CD1 to planned development district PD for Tract 2, 10.679 acres in the AB Hockaday survey belonging to Island Development LP property owner and Mandalay Realty LLC purchaser, being situated in the city of Gunbarrel City, Henderson County, Texas, adopting and incorporating a development agreement, providing a severability clause, providing for the repeal of all ordinances in conflict, providing a penalty not to exceed the sum of $2,000 for each offense, and providing an effective date. May I have a motion, please?
Mr. Mayor, I would like to make a motion to discuss ordinance O-2021-042, amending ordinance O-2021-040, and adopting and
Have a second?
and that's all.
Second. Rue, second.
Thank you. Motion has been made to discuss the ordinance. Go ahead, Ms. Mullins. I'll let you start.
As alluded in the public hearing, I believe that we need to schedule a workshop with the interested parties to discuss the particulars of this agreement.
I would second that.
Do we have any
All we're doing is
feedback from the
discussing.
developer as to the willingness to do that? Can we schedule that?
Can we do that?
I believe we can, yeah, absolutely we can. I'm seeing heads and being nodding yes, so yes, I think that's what we need to do as well. Any further discussion or conversation? Okay. Vote from, let's see, we don't have any action on
just a-
this item.
yeah,
This is
just to
a
discuss.
discussion. Yep. All right, so we'll move on to item 3C. Public hearing regarding the replanting of lots 16 and 17 in the Lakeview Acre subdivision belonging to David Kirkendall, physically located at 107 Donna Drive, into 3 lots, lots 16A, 17A, and 17B. Public hearing is open. Anyone wish to speak? Public hearing is now closed. Item 3D, discuss and/or take action to approve the replanting of lots 16 and 17 in the Lakeview Acre subdivision belonging to David Kirkendall, physically located at 107 Donna Drive, into 3 lots, lots 16A, 17A, and 17B. May I have a motion?
Public hearing.
No, we're on to motion. I'll make a motion to approve the replatting of lots 16 and 17 in the Lakeview Acre subdivision belonging to David Kirkendall, physically located at 107 Donna Drive, into 3 lots, lots 16A, 17A, and 17B.
Have a second?
Second?
Ms. Mullins, for clarification, I did do the public hearing and then closed it fairly
that's okay.
rapidly. No one stood up to speak, so that was good. Discussion?
Just to clarify, I did ask the city secretary to get some clarity. There was a dimension of the lot minimum on one of the lots, but it wasn't on all three. And she received a revised document, which I think she handed out to everybody, that showed that each of the lots does meet the minimum width. So
Okay,
we're good.
very good. Further conversation? Vote for my left.
Yours, yes.
Evans, yes.
LaRue, yes.
Mullins, yes.
Foster, yes.
Item 3E, public hearing regarding the replatting of lots 38 through 48, 51 through 59, 61 through 72, creating lots 38R, 40R, 42R, 45R, 61R, 63R, 65R, 67R, and 70R in the Sundrift subdivision belonging to MRJ Ventures 1 LP. Public hearing is open. Anyone wish to speak? Public hearing is closed. Item 3F, discuss and/or take action to approve the replatting of lots 38 through 48, 51 through 59, and 61 through 72, creating lots 38R, 40R, 42R, 45R, 61R, 63R, 65R, 67R, and 70R in the Sundrift subdivision belonging to MRJ Ventures 1 LP. May I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve the replatting of lots 38 through 48, 51 through 59, 61 through 72, creating lots 38R, 40R, 42R, 45R, 61R, 63R, 65R, 67R, and 70R in the Sundrift subdivision belonging to MRJ Ventures 1 LP.
LaRue, second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Vote for my left, please.
Yours, yes.
Evans, yes.
LaRue, yes.
Mullins, yes.
Foster, yes.
Item 3G, public hearing to discuss rezoning 4.37 acre tract of land situated in the J. Cargill Survey Abstract Number 162 and the W. Hockaday Survey Abstract Number 282, City of Gunbarrel City, Henderson County, Texas, being part of the 7.06 tract of land conveyed to CRP Cedar Isle Limited from Townhouse Residential District to Single Family Detached Residential District, R5. Public hearing is open. Yes, sir. Please give us your name and
Yes, Doug Galloway, 3508 Edgewater, up in Dallas. We're under contract to purchase this. The TRP Cedar Isle folks are the current owner. Should we get this rezoning, we'd move forward with our purchase. We're doing something much simpler than the other folks are proposing out there on the island. We're just going to chop it up into 11 lots and sell them for single-family homes. We think it's the best use for the property, and by our research and discussion with city staff, probably some larger things have been tried there over the years, and that's why it sits as an empty piece of dirt right now. So we think we'll be successful, and happy to answer any questions you guys have on it.
I do have a,
go right ahead.
right, I do have a question. Why did you select R5 as the requested zoning?
That was my question.
Yeah, that was actually our civil engineer, I think, working with Ms. Dillard on that. I think it just fit the lot sizes the best, is the simplest answer.
Unfortunately, that is our smallest home minimum. It's just a little over 1,000 square foot home with only a single carport.
Well, then then my team has definitely made a mistake. That is not the one we want.
Okay, I don't
you.
think it's the image we want first coming across the bridge either.
Absolutely, and that's definitely not the development we're proposing whatsoever, so.
It didn't match up with what I read in your narrative.
Right, right, thank you for pointing that out.
What is the target as far as the size of the home that you're looking at?
About 3,500 square foot.
Okay, so that would be our R1?
I don't think the lots are wide enough for R1, but I think 4A would work for you guys.
Okay,
And
3,500 square foot?
you've got some narrow throats on the front of your lots, but I think that can be solved, not to tell you what to do, but the building, the front setback can be set back a little farther to get that width.
right,
It's a-
right, and as it kind of fans around the island is why
Right.
there's a couple of those that are pinched in a little.
I don't think it would be much of a change at all.
Okay,
But I think 4A is more in line with what your narrative.
gotcha. Thank you for
Described.
pointing that out, I appreciate it.
Further questions or comments? Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Item 3H, discuss and/or take action to adopt ordinance number O-2021-043, rezoning a 4.37 acre tract of land situated in the J. Cargill Survey, abstract number 162, with the W. Hockaday Survey, abstract number 282, City of Gunbarrel City, Henderson County, Texas, being part of the 7.06 tract of land conveyed to TRP Cedar Isle Limited from Townhouse Residential District to Single-Family Detached Residential District. Ordinance number O-2021-043, an ordinance of the City of Gunbarrel City, Texas, amending the comprehensive zoning ordinance and map is heretofore amended to grant a change in zoning from Townhouse Residential District RTH to Single-Family Detached Residential District R5 from 4.37 acre tract of land situated in the J. Cargill Survey, abstract number 162, in the W. Hockaday Survey, abstract number 282, City of Gunbarrel City, Henderson County, Texas, being part of the 7.06 acre tract of land conveyed to TRP Cedar Isle Limited and being more specifically described by plat attached hereto marked Exhibit A, providing a severability clause, providing for the repeal of all ordinances in conflict, providing a penalty, a fine not to exceed the sum of $2,000, and for each offense, and providing an effective date. May I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to discuss ordinance number O-2021-043.
Second.
Have a motion to discuss the ordinance in a second. Go ahead, Ms. Mullins.
Unfortunately, because the agenda item specifically says R5, I don't think that we can move forward with this at this time. Not that I'm against your project, I'm not against it at all. And as a second, but different issue, our comprehensive plan shows this property as high-density residential. It may be that we need to amend our comprehensive plan ahead of this request when it comes back in.
Any further comments or questions, concerns? Mr. Galloway? Yes, sir. City Secretary, you want to comment in on that? I think that's kind of your bailiwick, isn't it?
Given that you're not sure on the zoning, I would probably discourage that so you can ensure that it does meet what you're wanting to do.
Okay.
That would be my recommendation. And Mullins is right, and we would need to also amend our comp plan.
Well, that is a true point. We do need to amend the comp plan prior to changing the zoning, so.
Yeah.
We can get this on the November 16th meeting, and council, y'all tell me, you know, if you, we're not going to vote, but does anyone have any real heartburn over this project?
I think with the proper zoning, I think we'd be good to go.
Okay.
Is there any issue that we couldn't get the comprehensive plan adjustments made and vote on this in the next meeting at the same time?
Not at all.
Perfect.
We've done it before, so. Okay, we'll take a look at this in the November meeting and get it handled. Thank you very much. Thank you. Appreciate you. Appreciate you coming in. Item 4A, discuss and/or take action to approve the proposed EDC lease agreement for the property known as 1720 West Main Street, Gunbarrel City, Texas, aka Gunbarrel City EDC office and EDC conference room. Have a motion, please.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to discuss and/or take action to approve the EDC lease agreement for the property known as 1720 West Main Street, Gunbarrel City, Texas, 75156, also known as the GBC EDC office and EDC conference room.
Have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Not hearing any discussion. Vote from my left, please.
Yawns, yes.
Evans, yes.
LaRue, yes.
Mullins, yes.
Foster, yes.
4B, discuss and/or take action to approve a no-cost lease agreement with the City of Gunbarrel City as related to the property having a legal description of acres 8.101 AB 794 GT Walter Survey, Mid-Cities Property, Block B, Lots 5 and 6, and N/PT of Lot 7. Motion, please.
Make a Make a motion to discuss and/or take action to approve a no-cost lease agreement with the City of Gunbarrel City as related to the property having a legal description of Acres 8.101 AB 794 GT Walters, Sir, Mid-Cities Properties, Block B, Lots 5, 6, and NPT of Lot 7.
Second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. I believe this is the 8 acres up there right where the lawnmower races are held at. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay, yeah. All right. Any discussion? Vote for my left.
Yours, yes.
Evans, yes.
LaRue, yes.
Mullins, yes.
Boss, yes.
Item 4C, discuss and/or take action to approve the proposed maintenance agreement for Big Chief and Church Street property. Have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve the proposed maintenance agreement for Big Chief and Church Street property.
Second.
Any discussion? Vote for my left, please.
Yours, yes.
Evans, yes.
LaRue, yes.
Mullins, yes.
Boss, yes.
Item 4D, discuss and/or take action to adopt resolution number R 2021-029, approving the Gumbbarrel City EDC purchasing Block 4, Lot 1 in the Sandy Shores Number 4 addition for $85,000, using funds left over from a loan from Government Capital Southside Bank. May I have a motion, please?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to discuss and/or take action to adopt resolution number R 2021-029, approving the Gunbarrel City EDC purchasing Block 4, Lot 1 of Sandy Shores Number 4 addition for $85,000, using funds left over from the loan from Government Capital Southside Bank.
LaRue, second.
Have a motion and a second. Resolution number R 2021-029, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Gunbarrel City, authorizing and approving the President and Executive Director of the EDC to execute a real estate sales contract and any and all documents necessary for acquisition of Block 4, Lot 1 of the Sandy Shores Number 4 addition, in addition to the City of Gunbarrel City, Henderson County, Texas, as further described and/or depicted in Exhibit A of this resolution, and providing for an immediate effective date. Ms. Scoria, question for you. I don't think we normally see where the executive director, since you're the interim executive director, would be signing this document. Is that something the board wanted done, or?
No,
Okay,
that wording should not be that way. It
Okay.
should be the board president,
the board president only? Okay,
yes.
all right. Discussion?
I'm trying to remember some of the things that we've discussed on this project in the past. Does this $85,000 purchase and expense from the EDC do anything to change our stake, that percentage that we have in the partnership, or is this part of it as it was originally stated?
This is part of it as it was originally stated. It's part of that $500,000 loan that we had procured. That money was all earmarked to go towards this project in some way.
Perfect, that's what I thought. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, can we edit the resolution as printed, or?
I think we can make a motion to exclude the executive director from the resolution. That's just, Ms. Evans, you've got more time in EDC than I do. It's not common practice for the executive director to sign the documentation for contracts, is it? No. I didn't think so. Does anybody have any heartburn with excluding the wording "and executive director of the EDC"? And just to approve the president to execute a real estate sales contract?
Does our city secretary have any guidance or suggestion on this topic?
I do not. I would just ask who drafted the resolution. Was it the EDC attorney?
Yes, it was.
Okay. I would ask him why he included it. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I wouldn't see any issues against.
Yeah, I think the previous executive director asked to be signatory on some things. I think it's the carryover from that. Is that not correct?
I believe that probably is correct.
That the previous one did ask to be included on signature?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's a carryover from that.
So, yeah, who made the original motion?
I'm sorry?
Who made the original motion? They can amend it.
I did.
Mr. Yawls made the original motion. You want to amend that motion, Mr. Yawls?
Yes, sir. I'd like to make the amendment to have the words and executive director stricken from the resolution.
Second.
Motion and second. A vote from my left, please.
Yawls, yes.
Evans, yes.
LaRue, yes.
Mullins, yes.
Walsh, yes.
Thank you. We will now convene into executive session pursuant to Texas Government Code Sections 551.087, Economic Development Negotiations, and Section 551.072, Deliberations about Real Property. The time is 7:45. Before all you folks get up and leave, y'all be sure and come out to the Halloween event out at the park this weekend. Bring your grandkids. There's enough for little kids and big kids both. So we'll go into executive session.
Hey, I'll be there.
You know we're behind it. It's just about being financially responsible.
We will reconvene in open session to discuss and/or take action, if any, regarding the executive session. The time is 8:07. There is no action needs to be taken. May I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
We are adjourned.